This is an official announcement from the Podcast Tonight Awards. Your favourite show that you're listening to right now has been officially nominated for a Podcast Tonight Award. But the power is in your hands. Amongst other categories, this show is in the running for the prestigious Listener's Choice Award, and they need your vote to win. You can show your support and help them get the recognition they deserve. The link to vote is in their show notes and bio. Go now and make your voice heard. This has been a message from Podcast Tonight, celebrating the best in audio.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch affairs today.
It's probably the least sexy part of the work. It's okay. No. The truth is...
Today on Conversations with Rich Bennett, we're diving into a conversation that blends science, energy, and transformation. My guest, Dr. Mary Sanders, is a doctor of chiropractic, and you've heard me talk about chiropractic care forever, a medical intuitive with more than 30 years of experience helping people reconnect with their body's wisdom and unlock true health and purpose. Dr. Mary's work bridges the gap between neuroscience and energy medicine. She helps successful women over 40, especially those who've spent years juggling work, family, and responsibility, recover from burnout, and rediscover their authentic selves. Through her unique blend of body-based awareness, intuitive insight, and trauma healing, she guides people to release old patterns, realign their energy, and live with more clarity and vitality. So if you've ever felt stuck, depleted, or disconnected from who you really are, this conversation will show you that the answers aren't outside you. They're within your own body and energy. By learning to listen to that inner intelligence, you can experience more balance, joy, and purpose than ever before. And before I even introduce you, I want you to go to drmarysanders.com. Save that website into your bookmarks or whatever you use. And that way you know where to go and you can look at the website while you're listening. How you doing, Dr. Mary?
Oh, Rich, that was so sweet of you. Thank you. I appreciate your kind introduction. And to answer your question, I'm doing well today.
So, the day we're recording this, it's November 13th. Dr. Mary is in Colorado. I'm in Maryland. So here in Maryland, it's been pretty chilly. She's got 70-degree weather out there. It's like something's backwards here. You should have all the snow.
It's not right, Rich. You're absolutely correct. I should be swimming in snow, but instead, I've got 70-degree weather. You're correct.
Have you guys had any snow yet at all?
No.
Really?
And that's so uncharacteristic of us. The rule of thumb is that we are guaranteed snow before Halloween. So we can have warm weather up to Halloween, and then like clockwork, we get dumped on the time of Halloween. And this time it didn't happen. And so this is the first time. Oh, goodness. So, wow, I have been in Colorado since 1994. So that's a couple of years.
Wow. All right. I want to get into, because I love talking to chiropractors. Seriously, I was always against them because they scared me. And then I went to my doctor and he wasn't in, so I saw a different doctor. He recommended a chiropractor. I didn't know there were different types and all, but ever since I started going, I want to say the relief, the things I've been able to do are just astounding. I go once every 6 weeks, but I mean, it's helped with my headaches. It's helped with the arthritis. It's helped with so many things. And a lot of times I'll tell people, before you even get surgery, talk to a chiropractor. And they tell me I'm crazy. They're like, no way, because all they're going to do is, crack all my bones and all that, which that's not always the case. They're not constantly there to realign or to align you. But with the chiropractic care, what was it that made you decide that's what you wanted wanted to get into. And was that your original decision out of high school?
That's a great question. And first and foremost, I love your story because it's skeptics like you who were original skeptics before seeing chiropractors. You end up being our greatest patient advocate, meaning that you are our number one fan because you've had that personal experience of transformation. So thank you for, sharing your story with others. Now, Rich, I want to start my story, and I just want to share with the listeners. There's a couple of things that you should know about me, and they're important to my story. And number one, the first thing I want you and the listeners to understand is that I was born hearing impaired. My hearing capacity is 50% what a normal person hears.
Wow.
Okay. Pretty significant. And I went undiagnosed for the first 3 years of my life. So that granted me the opportunity to kind of live in this kind of no man's land. I didn't really fit in the physical world, and I kind of was dabbling in the energetic and spiritual world. I didn't know that, obviously, being a small person, but, it was kind of like a playground for me. So my ability to receive and perceive information goes beyond the traditional five senses. Okay. So because I wanted to survive in this world, I developed the ability to receive information above and beyond what we typically perceive. And so my hands and my physical body became a conduit for receiving information.
Okay.
So fast forward a couple of years, both of my parents were in academia at the time. And so with the tools and the resources that they had available to them, I was raised in Illinois in a very central Midwestern town. And they both were professors at the collegiate level, and my mother was an administrator, and they wanted me to excel in the normal society without any assistance. So they mainstreamed my education. So I excelled with the support of my family and my environment. I excelled academically. So I knew that there was a part of me, that I was receiving information that was not normal, but I mainstreamed my main education. And then when I graduated from an undergraduate degree with chemistry and zoology, 3 days after my undergraduate degree, I was sitting in chiropractic school in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. So at that time, Rich, it was the first time that I was surrounded by a group of people who were inviting me to feel with my extra senses.
Oh, wow.
So all of a sudden, now I've known this for many years, that the body heals itself from the inside out.
Right.
Above, down, inside out. And now all of a sudden people are like, hey, Mary, what do you feel with your hands? And because I was undiagnosed, I developed the feeling of my hand, that ability, at a very young age. So I know many listeners sitting out there may be like, I had no idea, at a young age what I wanted to do. I knew with the trillions of the cells within my physical body, Rich, that I was destined to have my hands on physical bodies.
Wow.
And so that's how it happened.
I'll be darned. You said 50% for your hearing?
Yes.
Now, is that still the fact for today?
Yes.
Really? All right. So those of you listening, and I did not know this before I met Dr. Mary, and those of you listening know that I've been in the Lions Club for years. One of the things that we help with is sight and hearing. But the thing with Dr. Mary, and this is what I find amazing, she's also a podcast host. So a lot of people would say if anybody that has hearing loss, vision loss, or whatever, you always hear people say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Dr. Mary is proof that you can do whatever you want and set your mind to do. I had no idea.
You know, Rich, I'd like to expand upon that because I'm so thankful that I'm finally having this conversation on the air because I literally, for probably about, I don't know, 18 months, 24 months, I had the idea of doing a podcast. And I sat in the undecided mode, without stepping forward for that long because my belief system was like, who is going to want to listen to a hearing impaired individual with a speech impediment that's detectable? And a good friend of mine, whom I've known since fifth grade, she sat across the table and she looked at me and she said, that's BS.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use that as an excuse. And I looked at her and I said, what do you mean? She goes, you are so above that.
Yes.
You so have a message that you want to share with the world. So get over yourself, is what she said to me.
And she was right. Here's the thing. Look how many people are hearing, not a bird, hearing impaired or have some type of speech problem. And look how successful they are. It's funny because I had another guy on not too long ago on the podcast that has created hearing devices, but nowhere near as expensive as hearing aids because he had a problem as well. One of my favorite interviewers, and she also does a podcast, has a lisp. And a lot of people will say that you can't do it if you have a lisp. I've also had people on that have stutters. Don't ever say you can't do it. When I hear that, I'm going to prove people wrong. And I'm glad you did because, oh my God. And I've listened to a couple of episodes of your podcast. So those of you, just again, go to the website because you can get to the podcast from there. But you're great at what you do. I'm talking about the podcast part. I know with the other part, you're great at what you do as well. So, actually, before we get into that, I do have to ask you, what made you decide that? I know you said you were putting the podcast on hold, but why did you decide? I want to do a podcast. I just don't know if I should. But what put that in your mind?
Well, so here's the scoop. Okay. As a practicing chiropractor for almost 5 years, I obviously have a very scientific foundation to what it is that I do, but I offer modalities to my patients that are not scientifically proven. So I want to create a platform that bridges the gap between hardcore science that has been proven, versus the sciences that have yet to be proven. Okay. Now, just like you, I've had many skeptics in my practice over the years. But when I say, hey, I want to do some stuff that hasn't necessarily been proven, they don't care. They're always like, hey, Dr. Mary, do what you think is best, and let's see how I respond. And when they respond favorably, they're like, I don't care if it's woo-woo. Let's just continue doing it because I'm physically feeling better. And so that's what motivated me. The passion, I'm committed to bridging that gap. And so it's not woo-woo. It is now becoming scientifically proven that we are surrounded by this invisible field, that it's an electromagnetic current that's always in motion, that is merging and blending with our environment at all times, and it penetrates within our physical body, and it governs over our healing to a tremendous degree.
Yeah.
So that's really what motivated me to take that extra step because, like my friend, she knows me inside and out and has known me for so many years. She was like, you've got a message and you need to share that message.
Have you had her on the podcast yet?
I haven't. And this is the sad part of the story. She, about 18 months ago, got stage 3 pancreatic cancer.
Oh.
So unfortunately, Rich, she's on the other side. She's with me in spirit. She visits me in my dreams. She is still my greatest cheerleader and a companion, energetically, and I feel her love every day. And she's with me, yes.
So she has been on the podcast, but not in person. Seriously, basically coming through you. Yeah. I believe that because, trust me, I feel my brother with me a lot of times, especially when I feel something smack me in the back of the head for saying something stupid. Yeah. I want to get into the chakras because a lot of people have heard of chakras, but they see them as mystical. So how do you explain them in a practical, science-backed way?
Yeah. Listeners, if the word chakra doesn't align with you, no pun intended, or if it's a foreign word to you, know that it has been part of the Vedic sciences for over 3,000 years. It's not a new term, okay? It's ancient wisdom that has been passed down. So if you don't want to use the word chakras, we can call them nervous centers. Okay. And the reason we can call them nerve centers is because they are located in the physical body. We can't necessarily see them, but they are directly connected to a highway, a super highway of nerves, which, as you know, the brain's main responsibility is to communicate to the body via the spine. And then out of the spine comes these spinal nerve roots. These nerve roots go to tissues, organs, and muscles. And where that super highway of nerves come together, that plexus of nerves, that's a nervous center. That's a chakra, people. So what we're looking at when we break down in basic terminology, there's 3 functions for an energy center or a chakra. Number 1, it receives information from your environment, right? We're always in constant flux with our environment. We're constantly changing and adapting to our environment. So we're receiving information. That's the first thing that the energy center does. The second thing that it does, Rich, is that it assimilates that information. It's got to process it. You got to know what's happening within your environment. And then the third responsibility is to express that energy out into the world. So what I'm describing that takes me 60 seconds, it's almost monosynaptic within the body. It's part of the autonomic nervous system.
Right.
So receiving, assimilating, expressing is happening at all times. At all times. So we know, science, we collectively know that there's a principle, a Heisenberg principle, that shows us that surrounding us is this field that we think is void, right? We think it's empty. But what science is telling us on a quantum level, that there is constant exchange of energy happening within this space. It's fluid. It never stops. It's never still. It's always interacting with our environment at all times. And when I say environment, Rich, I mean people, places, things that surround us at all times.
Wow. I don't understand why a lot of people don't believe in this stuff or even look for the different ways of healing. Going back to the chiropractic care, you hear a lot about holistic healing and all that. And too many people would rather pop Motrin or whatever, and I don't think they truly understand how. I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, how their chakras actually work. But I have a complaint.
Let's hear it.
Why only women over 40? Us guys need work.
Hey now. I totally agree. And I have a variety of people in my practice, and I do still treat men.
Okay.
I happen to know women, obviously, a little bit better as far as the cycles that they go through in life. Yeah. And so that I'm more intimate with those kind of patients. So I hear you, Rich, and I probably shouldn't be so single-minded on that.
No. Here's the thing, and in all honesty, I believe that women have more of an open mind when it comes to this, and there are too many guys that are out there that are stubborn about it, or they think it's just it's a bunch of they don't know the history of it. I mean, I mentioned before how we talk about mental health a lot. you don't see a lot of guys going to therapists.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me, but, so I can understand why you're working, mainly with women because they have more of an open mind. But with that being said, especially in helping successful women, with burnout, what are actually some of the signs that someone's energy is truly depleted?
I can speak to this firsthand.
Okay.
Okay. So, let me back up in my story. After I graduated from chiropractic school, now please understand that I have a lot of technical skills. When I graduated, I was 25 years old. I didn't have any business skills.
So 10 years
whatsoever.
ago.
Right. I wish. Although that's not true. The wisdom that I have acquired over the last 35 years, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I feel healthier and more vibrant and in many ways, more alive now, at the age of soon to be 57 than I was at 25. So, well, I guess that I want to share with you that when a person goes through an adrenal exhaustion to where they have literally used up the chemistry that your body is designed to produce when you're under fight or flight stress response. Now, when we talk about the autonomic nervous system, you always hear the conversation about the saber-toothed tiger. You've got to have enough hormones in your system to be able to run away from a threat. Okay, so listeners, we are not going to be attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. But what we are going to be combated with are the constant demands of emails, the get up and go, the stress and the demands of everyday lives, the pace in which we choose to live, the perfectionistic attitude that we bring forth in everything that we do. All of this stuff comes up as a threat to our autonomic nervous system. And it causes us to be more in a sympathetic dominance, okay? So when we look at the autonomic nervous system, we have the get up and go, fight or flight, sympathetics. We have the rest, digest, and heal mode, which is parasympathetics. Now, know that your body, the organs, will have nerves coming in that speed them up and nerves that slow them down. But if your body is constantly in trying to meet the demands, then it becomes a little confusing internally. So you may then start to have, let's say, forgetfulness, memory loss, the depression towards tendency or anxiety. You physically feel fatigued when you wake up in the morning. You feel under-resourced, meaning that you don't feel like you have the bandwidth nor the capacity to handle the demands of your daily lives. That you have a tendency of withdrawing. Perhaps you lean towards, some of your coping mechanisms. Again, whether it be scrolling Instagram, whether it be binge watching Netflix, whether it be consuming too much alcohol, too much sugar, all of those cycles will negatively impact your body's ability to find a balance, also known as homeostasis. So for those of you that are listening and you feel like you're alone in this situation, please trust me, know that you are not. It's just the fact that most women are not confiding with one another to say, hey, listen, this is what I'm experiencing. I feel a sense of overwhelm at all times. Because they see that as a sign of weakness, and it's not. It's just the body's ability to be able to regulate itself, to auto-regulate itself.
Get rid of all that negativity, all those nasty toxins and everything.
It's hard. It's the demand, they build up emotionally, chemically, and energetically within the physical body. So literally, the body has a memory that does not forget. On a cellular level, you'll hear people say, well, the issues are in the tissues, meaning that your tissues remember all of the trauma that you've experienced. And trauma can be, something as insidious as a parent saying, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough.
Right.
That's a trauma versus, a trauma of losing a loved one or having a, chronic illness.
Are you? Because I don't know of any other chiropractors that do this. Because you're still doing the chiropractic care, but you're combining it with was it energy balance?
Yes.
Do you know of any other chiropractors that do this?
Well, I think that some are doing it, but they're not talking about it.
Why not?
Well, I think that there are a handful of people who are bringing the scientific perspective of what neurology is showing us.
Right.
That, we definitely need to balance out the autonomic nervous system. I mean, chiropractors were kind of a quirky bunch of people because we have a really strong philosophical foundation to what it is that we do. And thankfully, right? But to your point, Rich, you don't get, when you go to one chiropractor in Boulder and you go to one chiropractor in Maryland, they're not possibly going to deliver the same service. Everybody gets to express themselves in a unique way.
That's true.
What makes me a little bit different is that I have been incorporating this last year. Finally, science is catching up to some of my philosophy. And I now have in my office a device that allows me to be able to measure the unseen.
What?
So we measure the energy, and then even down to the nervous centers or the chakra systems, so that we can find out where the discordance is within the human biofield.
Get out of here.
No, it's an awesome, beautiful machine because it validates, everything that I've known intuitively and that I've known intellectually to be the truth all along.
Wow.
So, okay, let's break it down. It measures energy, it measures stress, and it measures organ balance. And all you have to do is I'm going to explain the science, okay? So it's a box. Imagine, listeners, that you have a cube and it's maybe 4.5, 5 inches in three-dimensional cube. And on the front of it is a small opening, an eye, if you will, that's maybe about an inch. And it's just big enough for you to insert a finger into it.
What?
And so your fingers, right? Now we test all 10 fingers, and I'll explain in a moment why we do that. But you put your finger in, and it hits a lens. This lens then provokes your biofield. It has a high electrical charge that you don't physically feel, but it charges your biofield. And then what ends up happening is that your body produces electrons. The electrons kind of go into this avalanche. So there's chaos. And this chaos interacts with the air molecules that are inside the machine. And so then there is a gaseous emission that produces light that you cannot see, but the software extracts that information and then interprets the light for us. So I can, again, we know that this is all based upon a Korean form of acupuncture to where all 12 meridians are located on the fingertips. So we scan all 10 fingers, right? And then we upload it into the software. And then what I do to substantiate my belief system is I have them do something as minor as.
You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. If you're looking for a way to unwind and relax after a long day, go to the place that I go to. Look no further than Serenity Salt Spa. Their state-of-the-art facility offers a variety of services to help you de-stress and rejuvenate. You can step into their salt room and let the healing properties of salt therapy work their magic on your mind and body, or try one of their massages to ease tension and promote deep relaxation. At Serenity Salt Spa, they believe that self-care is essential for a happy and healthy life. Book your appointment today and experience the ultimate in relaxation. You know they're good. The reviews say it all. Otherwise, they would not have earned the Harford County Living stamp of approval. Go to serenitysaltspa.net. Again, that's serenitysaltspa.net. Or give them a call at 443-640-6020. Again, that's 443-640-6020.
25 squats or 25 jumping jacks that emulate stress.
Okay.
And then I rescan them, all 10 fingers, and I see how their energy responds to stress.
Wow.
And then I let them relax for about 4 or 5 minutes. I rescan because I want to know how adaptable is your energy system to stress. How fast can you recover? Because that's the problem with most people. We don't recover. When we're in burnout, we're under stress, and we can't bring our energy levels back up. And so what ended up happening is that we start to deplete our own physical reserve, and that's what creates dis-ease, disharmony within the physical body.
Wow. So before this thing, it would take you even a longer time with a client. And now, did you even think 30 years ago that something like this would be out?
No.
It's amazing.
And what's cool is it's like a biohacking device.
Right.
You can see in real time.
Wow.
Right? It's not just my intuition. It's just not my life experience. It's not my wisdom. It's the machine showing you scientifically what's happening. And Rich, to be honest with you, I think the trend is going to be to continue to make this device smaller and smaller,
right,
and to make it more and more and more and more affordable, so that people can have one of these in their homes, and they can scan themselves and upload their results to a physician, and then that they can do the interpretation.
Ooh. Oh, all right. I'm sold already.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And this is something that gets me. And again, here we go with the chiropractic care and aligning your balancing your energy and everything. Because if something's wrong, like with me, with the bone spurs in my neck, I had to go through that damn tube for the MRI, which I couldn't do because I kept freaking out when they clamped my head down. But this little box, smaller than a bread box, this is amazing.
Yeah. So, in somebody like in your situation, I'm sorry you had to go through that whole MRI experience. You're not alone on that.
Valium didn't even work.
That's craziness. That's craziness, okay? But we would have been able to have seen predictively, right? We would have been able to see, hey, Rich, you've got either an over-facilitation of nerve roots or under-facilitation of nerve roots exiting out of the neck, right? So we may have seen energy shifts within your cranium.
Wow.
We may have seen energy shifts coming out of the neck itself. I could have said, now again, this machine is not I can't say it's a diagnostic tool. But I can say, hey, Rich, it's highly accurate in predicting what's to come.
And it gives you a better idea of the tools that you need to use. Let me rephrase that. Your tools are your hands. But it still gives you a better idea of how to work on somebody. Wow.
Gives me a wealth of information. Are you kidding me?
That's amazing. That is amazing. I didn't know there was such a thing like that out there.
Most people don't.
Wow. Holy. All right. And you said only a year and a half that you got it?
Right. But this machine has been in the makings for over probably 22 years, I think.
Really?
In Russia. And so what they have been doing is fine-tuning the machine, the physics of the machine.
Getting it right.
Correct.
Okay. Wow. All right. So, Dr. Mary,
Yeah.
I just want to jump into this right now because I'm blown away by everything already. I love to hear the feel good stories. So can you share a story with us of a client that had come to see you and was probably one of your toughest, I don't want to say toughest case. That doesn't sound right. But the transformation you seen afterwards just blew you away, possibly to the point to where it brought you or the client to tears.
Okay.
And you don't have to use names, of course.
No. I wouldn't do that anyway, Rich. But so I don't even have to think hard about this because I have a patient. Let's say she's young, 60, and she does not live here in Colorado. She lives in the East Coast. So I was working with her remotely, and I didn't have the chance to use my machine on her. So everything was based upon remote energetic healing or intuitive medicine. And I worked with her for a course of probably about a year. So this was not a one-time come in, let me see if I can fix you. This was working consistently and deliberately to assist this lady in overcoming a rare blood cancer.
Oh, wow.
I know. And so she, and again, she was in the industry, in the mental health industry. So she did a lot of work on her own. She sought out the assistance of a nutritional practitioner in her hometown, and we were doing our energy medicine sessions. And we were working a lot with the first energy center and the third energy center. Number one, the reason that I wanted to work the first energy center was to replenish her adrenal system, but that energy center more specifically deals with the bones. And so I wanted to work on the bone marrow. Okay. I wanted to increase the sloughing off of old cells and create new cells and replace, at a higher frequency. And so then we were also working on some of the emotional components that are governed over the third energy center known as the solar plexus. So we wanted to reclaim her essence, meaning we wanted to boost her self-confidence, her ability to believe in herself, and her sense of autonomy. And so over a year, I remember distinctively, Rich, she called me and she sent me an email and then sent me a text. She's like, do you have a moment to chat? And I'm like, yes. And so she's like, I just got my blood panel back and my cancer markers have dropped more than 2/3.
Wow.
And so she was like, Mary, I want this gone. My next time that I'm doing this, I want all of it healed. And I was like, I'm on your team.
Wow.
I am so on your team. So that was a really big deal. I mean, obviously for her, it was life-changing.
Yeah.
Right? Hugely life-changing. And for me, it was so beautifully validating.
And how is she now? Do you still keep in touch with her?
Yes, not as frequently.
Okay.
And so I know that she's had 2 blood panels since then. So I do need to reach out to her and find out, what the markers look like. But I have no doubt, okay, Rich, because of her mindset and her perseverance and her resilience and her, determination, she's going to conquer it. There's no doubt in my mind.
You have to have her on your show.
I know.
What are you waiting for?
I'm no longer waiting for.
You said energy sectors, energy centers. How many different energy centers are there in the human body?
So many I wouldn't even begin to be able to count because think about it, each acupuncture point is an energy center.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
There are tons of nadi channels according to the Vedic sciences, but for most practical terms, Rich, I just refer to the 7 lower energy centers located that are most intimately connected with the physical body.
Okay. Huh. Man. All right, that sounds like a whole nother book now. Sounds like a book that's going to have just about all the different energy centers that a human. I don't think a lot of people realize that, the energy, when you say energy that a body puts off, a lot of times people just think it's emotional or whatever. But it's actually, how can I explain this? Almost like electrical energy that you're putting off, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that governs over you said the emotions, but like the chemistry within your body, the hormones that you put on. Most people, when you think about hormones, you just think about reproductive hormones. But for each of the nerve centers or for each of the individual chakras, there's a corresponding endocrine gland. And I'm not going to go into Anatomy 101, but endocrine glands are just responsible for the hormonal production. So everything from what your thyroid, your pancreas, your ovaries, your adrenal system, your thymus, your pituitary, pineal gland, all of those, like the pineal gland located in the center of the head is one of my favorite endocrine glands because it's governed over your sleep, like light, dark cycles. And it's the production that creates melatonin. And most of you, we're heading into Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. And in that chemical breakdown, you're going to create like tryptophan. Like people always say, yep, after I eat turkey, I've got to have a nap. And so it's that chemical breakdown that, yes, indeed, you will get a little sleepy after you have turkey.
You mentioned melatonin. And people that have problems sleeping take melatonin at the wazoo, it seems like. And a lot of times it gets to the point to where it doesn't even help. But what you do, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can actually help people help their so that their body is creating that melatonin that is not being created, correct?
Correct.
Wow.
And that's all associated with the sixth energy center located on the forehead, also known as the third eye. But if you think about it, it has its own nerve plexus. It's the superior ganglion, and it happens as a result of the crossing of the eyes, and it comes down to a P-shaped nerve fiber, and it goes right back up into the pineal. So if I can help regulate that energy center, then yes, I can balance out melatonin within the person. Now, provided that they have healthy sleep patterns, provided that they're really taking light deprivation into account and making their rooms pitch black and using black tape to cover up all the miscellaneous light pollution that, happens in the room due to electronics and things like that.
Stay off the phone, the TV.
Right. We've got to get rid of that stuff. I mean, we need to get back into the circadian rhythms in order to really balance that energy center. And so people sleep a lot better. A lot better.
So explain a session to somebody because, people are hearing us talking about how you can help them. But let's go with the melatonin thing right there in the forehead. What's a session look like when you're helping somebody through that?
Right. Okay, so we're going to stick to a remote energy session. Okay, so let's just pretend that I'm working on with you. And the first thing I would have you do, Rich, I would have you fill out a comprehensive intake, just like you go into your physician's office. I'm going to go through the same thing. I'm going to find out, so do you have any vision issues? Do you have any headaches? What does your sleep look like? Do you have any anxiety? Do you have any depression? I'm going to ask you all of those things because it's directly associated with that energy center. Then when we are connected, I connected via Zoom. So we're talking and looking at one another. And then I go through a guided meditation. So my intention is to bring your brain waves down from that analytical, beautiful thinking thing that you do with your brain. I'm going to slow down that brain so that we can harmonize our brain waves and our frequency. Once that happens, then I ask you, hey, listen, do you want to move forward? Do you want a reading and a healing today? And then You can say yes or no, depending upon your comfort level. And then I sit back. I literally close my eyes. Sometimes I wear a mask.
Right.
I close my eyes and I intuit information. I physically feel what's happening within your physical body.
Even through Zoom.
Through Zoom.
Wow.
Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It is not bound by time. So there is an ability for me to receive and perceive information. Again, don't forget, I spent the first 3 years of my life trying to fine tune some of these things.
Yeah.
And I've gone to school in order to literally on top of my chiropractic school, the master's in intuition medicine. I went and I learned how to open myself up to receive information. And so I kind of set aside my analytical brain. And then I'm like, okay, Rich, I need you to tell me, what are you feeling in this area? How does this? Rich, I need you to relax in this area. Rich, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to. And so it's a dance. It's a two-way dance between you and I. Okay. There may be sound, there may be visualization, there may be somatic sensations, there may be memories, there may be things that come up that get to be processed in order to support you and your healing journey to its highest good.
You said you can even help with vision?
I said...
you mentioned something about vision.
I said that the eyes are connected into the sixth energy center.
Right.
So sometimes vision disturbances can be corrected by balancing the sixth energy center.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Right. So just the same thing. Okay, let's put this into perspective. I have a hearing issue. I chose to come into this world. The ears are connected into the throat. The throat, the fifth energy center, was my biggest, not an obstacle. It wasn't a challenge. It was my greatest healing lesson.
Okay.
So obviously I'm finding my voice, right? I'm finding my ability to speak authentically. The podcast is part of my healing journey. My neck is also associated with this because I've had trauma within the neck that has altered my energy center. So to make a long story short, Rich, if somebody would have said to me, and in fact, it happened just this last year, I was attending a conference and they said, do you have any physical issues that you want to be addressed in healing while you're at this conference? I'm like, nope, period. And so I was not open to having my hearing supported or restored or energetically worked on. And so now, in the last probably 6 to 8 months, I'm like, I think I would be open to that. I think I would be finally open to the idea of letting go whatever hearing distortion that is occurring energetically so that the capacity of my hearing could be restored. And yeah, I'm just now open to it. So maybe we should connect in another 10 years and I'll tell you how it's going.
10 years, I think within the next year.
Possibly. Possibly.
It's something else that blows me away because and I didn't know that you did these sessions through Zoom. But have you ever, and I guess you would have to get the client's permission, have you ever done a session during your podcast with somebody? And the reason I say it is because those skeptics, when they see it done, they're going to be like, wow, she's like for real.
I know that there are various different mediums or psychics that do, a call in and they're going to read their energy field. And, I have yet to do that for a couple of different reasons in that I don't want the work that I do to be perceived as a party trick.
I can understand that, yeah.
I don't want to, and plus, what comes up, I never want to create a sense of vulnerability for another patient. And so I haven't done that for that reason, because there are people that are like, wow, that's the most intimate that anybody's ever seen. You know, I've never been seen that way before. And in most people, it's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Now that you say all that, that makes sense, because a lot of people have that trauma that is stored up inside, and they may not even realize what it is until it comes up, and it could just, you never know who it could hurt, who they could be hurting as well. So,
correct.
Wow. When's the book coming out?
Oh, wow, Rich. Hold on there, mister.
I was going to say, don't tell me you're working on one.
It has literally come into my field, and then I've kind of pacified it, and then I get this intuitive information that it's just not right.
Okay.
It's not right. The timing's not right. So perhaps in my future, there's one coming. But right now, what I am working on is I am looking to take this tool to become a certified instructor for other chiropractors to utilize this tool.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So I mentioned trauma. So for those people that are holding on to old emotional energy or trauma, what's one small step they can take today to begin releasing it?
Yeah, and I think that that's such a sensitive question, and I know you perked up the ears of many listeners. And Rich, I'm going to use the word breath. If we could incorporate our breath, right? Incorporate our breath to increase, with the intention of increasing the somatic awareness, like allowing people to physically feel their body at a deeper level, at a somatic level. The body will start to unravel and talk to you. But that's scary for a lot of people. A lot of people are not comfortable in their human home. Like, they're doing anything that they can to get away from that hip pain, to get away from that shoulder pain, to get away from that neck pain. These are the people that are taking over-the-counter NSAIDs every day in order to live, a pain-free life.
Yeah.
And so the moment that I talk about breath and I invite people to slow down and bring their awareness back into their physical body, most of them say, okay, lady, time out. So that's a little uncomfortable for most people. So breath is a very, very powerful tool. Don't underestimate the somatic sensations that your body is communicating to you, because it is doing just that. It's in constant communication with us.
It's funny because you mentioned breath, and when I first started taking yoga or doing yoga, I didn't realize that breathing exercise was a thing. And it's amazing how much better it makes you feel. And of course, meditation as well. But just the breathing, to see, to breathe it in, hold it, and then release it. And I think it actually may even help build my stomach up a little bit too. Well, maybe not.
Well, Rich, if you think about it, you're changing the gaseous composition, right? The release of carbon dioxide with the inverse relationship with oxygen, and it trips the brain and it expands the heart, and it gets the body to release the sympathetic dominance and to kind of relax into parasympathetic. So there's a physiological reason that you feel that way after your breath. Most people are not going to get as heady as I do when I talk about the breath. I know it scientifically to be a fact.
Yeah.
I don't care if people know it or not. I just want them to breathe.
Yeah. All right. So before I get to my last question, I can't believe, man, time flies by when you're having fun and learning. Actually, before I turn it back over to you, so those of you listening, once again, go to Dr. That's DR. Don't spell doctor out. MarySanders.com and I'll have the information, the links in the show notes, and schedule a 15-minute discovery call with her and listen to the podcast. When you listen to her podcast, make sure you leave a review. Energy medicine, align your mind, body, and spirit. And trust me, when you listen to it or watch it, because you're on YouTube as well, right?
That's right. I just made the switch to video, people.
Because you have a face for a video. I don't. So it's I have a tendency to break cameras.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason that I shifted to video is so that I could share the cool tools. I can do a screen share and show people the reports that I'm looking at when I measure the energy. So that's why I switched to video.
So you're not doing audio at all anymore?
Some, not a lot. So I may get back to audio, but right now, yeah.
Please do. I like to listen in my car.
All right. Fair enough.
Or when I'm laying down in bed. And to me, it'd be perfect when I'm laying. Well, maybe not while I'm meditating, because I listen to my Tibetan bowls then, so that wouldn't work.
Yeah, I love that. Love it.
Oh, I do. My God, I do. All right. So before I get to my last question, is there anything you would like to add?
No, quite honestly, Rich, it has been such a pleasure to share space with you and your audience. At this moment, you have asked me some really thought-provoking, heartfelt questions that I don't have anything that I feel like I need to add.
Well, the door is always open, because I know just your story alone, there's a lot of things I could talk to you about. And the door is open, so come back anytime.
Thank you.
So pick a number between 1 and 100. That's going to determine the last
73.
question. So, why 73? Wow.
73 it is.
You were quick with that.
73.
73. Is that the year you were born?
73. No.
Oh.
No, I wasn't. 69.
So what? No. Oh, yeah, that's right, because you said 57. Okay, never mind. I can't do the math. Okay. This is a good question. What's a memory you often revisit that brings you joy or comfort?
Okay, here's one. So I was the youngest of 3 girls, and we, as I already alluded to, I was raised in a small rural community in a Catholic upbringing. And what I used to do, obviously, I could not hear the guy in the robe at the front of the church who had a message to share, but I didn't know that he did. So I made up my own games. And so what I would do is I would stand in between my parents. I would put my right hand in my mom's palm, and then I put my left hand in my dad's palm. And so the memory that I have is that my game was, I would take my mom's energy, I would zap it, I would run it through my body, and then I would zap my dad's energy. And then I would take my dad's energy, run it through my body, and then zap my mom. And so to this day, that just indicates to me that I've always intuitively been connected to the invisible field that surrounds us. And I played, and I loved being in that playground of the field that we live in,
right,
even as a young person. And so that's one of my favorite memories. Thank you for asking.
I love that. I didn't ask. You picked the question. I just read it. I had no idea what the question was going to be. That's why I said pick a number 1 to 100. But it is funny how a lot of these questions are aligning with what we've been talking about, which is pretty wild to me. Dr. Mary, I want to thank you so much. It's been an honor. And those of you listening, contact her. If you need some help, contact her. Get those chakras taken care of. You got that deep trauma or whatever. She can help you. She can get everything in balance for you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mary.
Much gratitude, Rich. Thank you to you and your beautiful listeners.
Thank you for listening to the Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com. The Joppatown Lions Club, serving the community since 1965. Visit them at joppatownlionsclub.org. And don't forget the E at the end of Joppatown, because they're extraordinary.